the woman accidentally found out a shocking truth. Her best friend and her husband were secretly seeing each other. Thinking about her sincere feelings being betrayed, she got so angry she was shaking. Not willing to let her family, which she'd nurtured for years, be destroyed in an instant, she decided not to expose them right then and there, but swore she would plan a spectacular revenge. Going back 5 years, Fat was a famous star, often playing the lead female roles and acting with her best friend, Dao. One day, during a scene, Dao accidentally fell down the stairs. The situation looked like Fat had intentionally pushed Dao. The truth was, Dao had intentionally tampered with Fat's high heels and fallen down the stairs herself in order to frame Fat, hoping to sue her and ruin her reputation. However, Fat's father warned Dao that if she dared to harm his daughter's reputation, he would reveal that her fall down the stairs had caused a miscarriage. For the sake of her career, Dao had to stay silent and drop the matter. Returning, she did not expect that the conspiracy to harm her best friend actually caused herself to lose the child, and so she blamed everything on Fat. 5 years had passed, and Fat had gotten married and given up her career, while Dao had become a leading actress. However, Dao hadn't forgotten her grudge against Fat. On the surface, she acted friendly, but deep down she secretly hated her. The next day, when Dao's niece Ava had a conflict with a sales clerk, Calm, Dao stepped in to defend her niece, regardless of right or wrong. Not only that, but she also insulted Calm and used her power to force the store owner to fire her. Seeing this, Fat felt indignant and wanted to offer Calm a job. However, Calm misunderstood Fat as being in league with Dao, so she refused and angrily left. Dao then mocked Fat for meddling in other people's business before leaving herself. At this time, a handsome guy was watching everything from a distance. When Fat came out, he drove up to her and started a conversation. Fat had no idea that this guy, Tam, was looking for a way to get revenge on her and her husband. Years ago, Tam's sister had been swindled out of her money by Fat's husband, Thai, causing her company to go bankrupt and leading her to end it all. Tam then rebuilt the company that was on the verge of bankruptcy, and was determined to find Thai to avenge his sister. He also saw Fat as a target for revenge, believing that she had stolen his sister's happiness. On the other hand, throughout their 5 years of marriage, Fat had always thought that her husband truly loved her, but the anniversary gift that Thai gave her, a handbag, made her feel strange. The product name said it was a chain strap bag, but when she received it, it was a black leather strap bag. Thai lied and said it was a mistake and promised to exchange it for her. Fat thoughtfully said it was no trouble. However, not long after, she was surprised to discover that the handbag that Dao's niece, Ava, was carrying was exactly the same as hers, but it was the chain strap style. This made Fat suspicious of her husband. She began to doubt his faithfulness. Before, at an actor audition, Tam had warned her that she had chosen the wrong husband. At first, Fat thought that Tam was trying to drive a wedge between her and her husband, so she didn't pay attention. However, after seeing Ava's handbag, she began to suspect her husband. Fat quickly comforted herself, thinking that she was overthinking things. Just then, Fat's car suddenly lost its brakes. Luckily, she safely stopped the car before an accident happened. Tam, who was driving behind her, saw this, stopped, and came forward to ask if she was okay. After checking the car, Tam suspected that someone had sabotaged Fat's car. At that moment, Thai suddenly appeared to comfort his wife, and quickly took her away from the scene. Seeing that Thai wasn't investigating the cause of the accident, Tam felt suspicious. He then had someone check Fat's car, and discovered that there was nothing wrong with the car. To investigate the truth further, Tam hinted that he wanted to come to the party that Fat was hosting. On the other hand, Thai wanted his wife to look dazzling at the party, so he gave her a set of sparkling diamond jewelry. Fat was overjoyed to receive such a valuable gift from her beloved husband. However, Fat's happiness didn't last long. The next day, Fat received an anonymous letter containing a picture of her beloved husband, Thai, being intimate with another woman. Fat couldn't believe her eyes, and tears streamed down her face. Returning home, Fat looked at the designer bag and the diamond jewelry her husband had given her, and her heart was in turmoil. Fat picked up a knife, intending to destroy the bag, but reason told her to stop. Fat decided to find the woman in the picture. The next day, Fat went to her husband's car to look for clues. Sure enough, she found a pair of women's gloves in her husband's car. Her curiosity about the identity of the woman grew stronger and stronger. On the other hand, the day of the party arrived. Fat still dressed up gorgeously, wearing the jewelry her husband had given her, as if nothing had happened. But Fat didn't know that at this moment, her husband, Thai, was being intimate with that other woman. Thai, after finishing, told the woman a few things and then left the room. Over here, Fat had finished getting ready, and she stepped out of the room, just as Ava also stepped out of a room. Fat immediately misunderstood that Ava was her husband's mistress. However, Fat wasn't sure about that, so she continued to look for the woman. At the party, Fat focused on observing the wrists of the female guests and comparing them with the hand of the woman in the picture, but her efforts had yielded no results so far. Just then, the chandelier above Fat's head showed signs of falling. Tam, with a keen eye, noticed this and quickly ran over to push Fat away before the chandelier fell. Seeing the chandelier fall, Fat was so scared that she didn't know what to do. She didn't expect Tam, who usually hated her, to save her life. At this moment, Thoi suddenly ran over to comfort Fat and took her to a restroom. Over here, Dao, hearing that her best friend had just gone through a major accident, also quickly ran over to ask if she was okay. As soon as she saw her best friend, Fat quickly grabbed Dao's hand and observed it carefully, thinking that Dao could also be that woman. Dao, seeing Fat's strange behavior, quickly pulled her hand away and made an excuse to leave. In another development, Tam was now investigating the reason why the chandelier had suddenly fallen. Kam, who had come to help with the decorations, said that she had personally seen two strange men tampering with the chandelier. Hearing this, Tam immediately sent people to look for the two strange men, but to no avail, as the two had fled immediately after doing their deed. The next day, when Fat found out about this, she felt incredulous. Thoi, who was beside her, said that Tam was making things up, and Fat also doubted Tam's words, but she still went to thank Tam for saving her life. Tam accepted Fat's thanks and also warned her to be careful, as it seemed like someone was trying to take her life. The next day, Fat met Tam again when she was jogging in the morning. Tam came over and said that Ava had gone abroad on a business trip today. Hearing this, Fat became even more suspicious of Ava, but what she didn't know was that the chain strap bag was borrowed by Ava from Dao. The scene shifts. When Fat was with Tam at a bar, she accidentally discovered the truth that her husband's mistress turned out to be her best friend, Dao. Fat was extremely heartbroken to learn the truth. Even so, Fat still chose not to expose them immediately, but decided to carefully plan her revenge. Fat then went to Tam, telling him everything. After comforting her, Tam offered to cooperate with Fat to plan their revenge together. Fat wasn't in a hurry to agree with Tam, as her reason was being clouded by her emotions at this time. The next day, after calming down, Fat met with Tam and asked him why he wanted to cooperate with her. Tam didn't answer, but told Fat to think carefully about his offer from yesterday, and then left. On the other hand, after finding out that she had been betrayed, Fat often felt tired, as if that matter had worn away her health. However, she couldn't just stand by and watch those despicable lovebirds casually having an affair in front of her. Fat decided to invite friends over for dinner, and of course her best friend Dao was indispensable. But what she didn't expect was that Dao would be so shameless as to actually come. She even brought soup, wanting to nourish Fat's health, but only she knew how the soup was made. Fat, unaware, prepared to enjoy Dao's soup. Luckily, the servant signaled her not to drink the soup. So Fat quickly put down her spoon and pretended to be unwell to leave the kitchen. Fat then asked the servant why she had signaled like that. It turned out that the servant had seen Dao's soup-making process. That evening, Tam was also invited. During the meal, Fat told everyone that not long ago, at an actor audition, she had seen Tam and Dao having intimate interactions. At this point, Tam realized that Fat had called him there to use him to deal with her best friend Dao, thereby proving that Dao was unfaithful. It turned out that last time, Dao wanted to use her charms to persuade Tam, a member of the jury, to vote for her niece. Their intimate actions had been caught by Fat, and she had misunderstood that Dao was seducing Tam. As for this, Dao couldn't easily refute Fat, so she showed off the ring that Thoi had given her. Fat, in turn, fought fire with fire, showing off the large blue diamond ring that her husband had used to propose to her. They hinted at each other, mocking each other. People who didn't know the story didn't understand what was happening. Only Tam, who was involved, understood that they were bad-mouthing each other. He saw the ring on Fat's hand, which reminded him of his tragic sister. It turned out that that ring had previously been given to his sister by Thoi, but now it was on Fat's hand. He believed that Fat had stolen his sister's happiness, so he stepped forward and accused her of stealing other people's things. He said that the things Fat took from others would eventually be taken back. Fat didn't understand the implication in Tam's words, and continued to return to the table to fight to protect her happiness. She asked the maid to bring food to Dao, tricking Dao into saying that it was a dish made by the new maid. Fooled, Dao believed it and took a bite. At this time, Fat revealed the truth, saying that it was the food that she had brought, and the maid had only added some vegetables and flowers for decoration. Knowing the truth, Dao angrily threw the food down, and then ran angrily into the bathroom to vomit. Angered, Dao wanted to take her niece and leave, but Fat invited her to stay for cake and continued to ridicule her. Fat then deliberately stabbed the table with a knife, almost injuring Dao's hand. She wanted to use this method to warn her best friend to stop getting involved with her husband. But this didn't seem to work. On the contrary, Dao helped Fat cover, saying that she didn't mind her joke. Appearing calm on the surface, Dao then took Thai into a private room to talk. Not finding her husband, Fat became suspicious again. When she opened the door, intending to catch them in the act, the sound of Calm and Ava arguing suddenly rang out in the house. It turned out that Calm had discovered Ava stealing things from Fat's bag, and the two of them were arguing and fighting. But Ava falsely accused Calm of stealing the owner's things. Seeing this, Thai also thought that it was all Calm's fault. After saying this, he even intended to take Calm to the police station. Thanks to the protection of Fat and Tam, Calm was saved. But not long after, Calm encountered bad guys who wanted to kidnap her, but luckily Tam arrived in time to save her. Seeing this scene, Fat didn't understand who wanted to harm Calm. Tam said that her husband was the mastermind. It turned out that last time, Calm at the bar had filmed Thai and the female manager doing something shady. He was worried that the video would reach his wife, affecting their relationship. Fat pretended to be half believing and half doubting. Hearing Tam wanted her to divorce her husband, Fat said that marriage wasn't as simple as he thought. Seeing that he couldn't ruin their marriage and get revenge on that bastard, Tam angrily blamed Fat for stealing other people's happiness again. Seeing that Fat still didn't believe what he said, he took her in front of his sister's grave, telling her about his sister and her husband. Fat said that she didn't know his sister at all, and denied that she was a third party who stole other people's happiness. Tam of course didn't believe Fat's words. To prove her innocence, Fat risked stopping Tam's car. She explained to Tam that the ring on her hand was chosen by her and Thai themselves at the jewelry store, and was a unique design, so this ring couldn't possibly be his sister's. But Tam presented photographic evidence that his sister had worn this ring, and he had taken the photo for his sister himself at that time. Both sides insisted on their own positions. To find out the truth, Fat took Tam to the jewelry store from years ago, to have the store owner testify for her. But after examining the ring, the store owner told Fat that the ring was fake. After asking the staff, the store owner finally found the answer. It turned out that Thai had bought the real ring first that year, and then took Fat to buy a fake ring. Fat never expected Thai to lie to her, tricking her to the point where even her wedding ring was fake. So Fat went to her father, telling him her decision to divorce. But her father thought that Thai loved his daughter very much, and even said that Thai had borrowed money from others to buy land for business. He advised his daughter not to divorce Thai. Fat returned home, saw her husband's company was losing money, saw her husband working hard for his career, and couldn't help but soften. Therefore, she turned to Tam, begging him not to compete with her husband to buy that piece of land. If Tam spared Thai, she was willing to do anything he asked. Hearing this, Tam gave a hotel room card to Fat, and then left the restaurant with a smile. But that night, he checked out of the cafe. At first, he wanted to avenge the bastard, cuckold him, but found that he couldn't be the bad guy. So he texted Fat to tell her to go home, saying that he couldn't make it tonight. Afterward, Fat discovered that her husband had bought the land he wanted. At this point, she knew that Tam had followed her wishes, giving up the land to help her husband. Fat then wanted to test whether her husband would repent. So she told him that she would be going to a friend's house tonight. Sure enough, as she expected, Thai again invited Dao to the house. Just when the two were about to play a game, Fat secretly returned home to check, and found her husband coming out of the bathroom. Thai lied that the heater in the main bathroom was broken, telling his wife to use the bathroom in the living room. Then he texted Dao, telling her to take the opportunity to sneak out. Finally, he made an excuse to go out, in reality to take Dao home. But what Thai didn't expect was that Dao deliberately left her underwear in the bathroom. She wanted Fat to discover her affair with Thai. She wanted Thai and Fat to divorce. Over here, when she found the underwear, Fat had another plan. She lied to her husband again, saying that she had to go on a business trip to another province today. Thai believed it was true and again called Dao to his house to enjoy their own private world. When he and Dao were having fun, Fat returned and filmed the evidence of her husband's affair. She said she would use it as evidence to sue for divorce. Thai, of course, didn't want to divorce because he still wanted to rely on his wife's family's financial resources to advance. Seeing his wife running away, He hurriedly chased after her and said that the person he loved most was her. Over here, Tam, hearing the news, also came to the front of their house. He prevented Thai from continuing to cling to Fat. At this time, Dao also came out, advising Thai to divorce Fat and be with her. But Thai's next action saddened her. He pushed her away and went after Fat. The scene changed. Since their relationship was exposed, to keep his wife from divorcing him, Thai staged a car accident, pretending to be seriously injured to gain his wife's sympathy. The kind-hearted Fat had to wait for her husband to recover before filing for divorce. But what she didn't expect was that her best friend conspired with her husband to plot against her. On the day of the art school's press conference, Fat and her best friend attended as shareholders. Dao first planned to destroy Fat's good image. At the press conference, she had someone deliver a knife to Fat, on which were written extremely vicious curses. When the delivery person called the sender, Fat's phone rang. The reporters were in an uproar. Everyone misunderstood that Fat was a vicious person. Dao was smug in her heart because her scheme had succeeded. Then, she colluded with the principal, falsely accusing Fat of embezzling public funds from the art school. Fat was caught in a whirlpool of public opinion, her head aching as if it would explode because these negative news had damaged her reputation. While she was trying to deal with these rumors, Thai and her best friend started the next step. They meticulously set up a plan to kidnap Calm, wanting to steal her phone, wanting to take away the video evidence that Fat was preparing to sue for divorce. When Calm was in danger, luckily she was rescued. Over here, Fat went to find Calm and met Tam. For safety reasons, Tam took Fat home, letting her stay overnight. After that, they also told Calm to come and stay with Fat. After this incident, Fat decided to speed up the divorce proceedings, preparing to hand over all the evidence she had collected to her lawyer. But her manager called to tell her to check the news online. It turned out someone had falsely accused Fat and Tam of having an affair. As soon as this rumor was posted, it spread rapidly online, saying that she was having an affair. The affair rumor between her and Tam put the divorce lawsuit she was preparing at a disadvantage. Moreover, after hearing about it, her father immediately called her home and scolded her. Fat's father even called Tam to the house. Although Fat explained about her husband's betrayal and deception, as well as the fact that she and Tam were innocent, her father still insisted that Thai was a good person and demanded that Tam not see his daughter again in the future. At the same time, the mastermind behind spreading the rumors was Dao. She and Thai were celebrating their masterpiece, as this proved that Fat was at fault first, which would help Thai gain the upper hand in the divorce. So they openly dated at home again. Fat returned to see this scene, and was extremely angry. But this shameless couple told Fat that she had lost the evidence to file for divorce. The phone that Fat used to film the video earlier had been damaged by her husband. Now only Calm's phone had the video evidence that Fat had sent to her. But now Thai had stolen Calm's phone. After saying this, he threw the phone into the fire. He also told his wife that his subordinates had also stolen Calm's backup hard drive, and threw it all into the fire in front of his wife. Now all the evidence of her husband's infidelity had been destroyed, making Fat both angry and heartbroken. Provoked, she lost all reason, and went back to her room to get her gun and pointed at Dao. Just as she was about to pull the trigger, Dao rushed forward and snatched the gun. The gun fell down the stairs. They struggled to fight for the gun again. After a fierce struggle, Dao finally picked up the gun and pointed it at Fat. However, her next action stunned Fat. It turned out that, in order to falsely accuse Fat of being a murderer, Dao shot herself. Thai, hearing the gunshot, ran over, also becoming an accomplice. He knocked his wife unconscious and then put the gun in his wife's hand. Tam, on this side, also ran over after hearing the gunshot, and heard Thai blaming his wife for hurting Dao. Then the despicable couple used this to force Fat and her father, forcing Fat to sign the divorce papers as he requested. Otherwise they would sue her for attempted murder, causing her to go to jail. At first Fat refused to sign, but Thai told her that if she didn't sign, not only would she have to go to jail, but it would also cause her father, who always valued honor, to lose his reputation, and moreover, Tam's company, who had helped her, would also have its reputation affected and risk bankruptcy. After careful consideration, Fat had to endure humiliation and sign the divorce papers, leaving her empty-handed. In another development, Tam went to find the maid who had been fired by Thai, wanting her to testify for Fat that she didn't shoot Dao. It turned out that the maid had witnessed the whole thing that day, and after that day she had been fired and sent away by Thai. Tam quickly persuaded her and took the maid to the hospital, but she was kidnapped by Thai's subordinates. He used the lives of the maid's family to make her keep her mouth shut, so the maid could only give up testifying. At this time, Thai also came out, smugly telling Tam that he was one step behind, because Fat had signed the divorce papers. Tam hurriedly ran to the hospital room to visit Fat. Seeing her grieving and crying sadly, Tam felt extremely sorry for her. After they left the hospital, Thai packed Fat's luggage and kicked her out of the house without letting her take anything. Kam, who was beside her, angrily mocked Dao, causing Dao to become angry and hit her. Seeing this, Fat took action to teach Dao a lesson. But Dao grabbed Fat's hair, making her unable to move. In desperation, Fat hit Dao's gunshot wound, causing her to stop. Then Fat and Kam left the villa. After that, she moved into her old house. Tam then came to visit her, but Fat chose to avoid him. Outside, Kam told Tam that Fat didn't want the affair rumors between them to become a reality. But Tam still wanted to wholeheartedly help Fat. So he went to the principal of the art school, saying that he had found solid evidence of her embezzling public funds. If she didn't want her bad deeds to be exposed, she had to do as he said. Therefore, the principal was forced to apologize to Fat and agree to let the final results of the acting competition be decided by online voting. The principal also clarified to the media that the news that she had falsely accused Fat of embezzling public funds last time was just a misunderstanding, and told the public that the results of this competition would be decided by audience voting. On the other hand, due to the divorce, Fat was removed from the list of judges for the competition. Tam also told Fat that, for her reputation, he would actively distance himself from her from now on. Over here, everyone was busy calling for votes for the actor they supported. Dao even participated in the program to promote her niece Ava. She was convinced that with the promotion of a big star like her niece would definitely be the champion. However, the voting results of the competition disappointed her greatly, because Kam, with her excellent acting, had won the championship. Not willing to give up, Dao played another trick. She told the driver to deliberately delay Kam's time to the award ceremony, wanting her to miss the ceremony, so the champion title would belong to her niece Ava. However, her calculations were wrong, because with the help of acquaintances, Kam arrived at the venue on time. Although her dress was dirty, at Fat's advice, she wore her cafe uniform on stage to receive the award. Fat, as a special guest, promoted Kam, saying that she had rushed here from work, showing her dedication to her job, but she always worked hard and never gave up on her dream. After Fat's speech, everyone loved the little girl Kam even more. Finally, the principal had to announce Kam as the champion. This made Dao even more angry. To get revenge on Fat, she used despicable tricks again. She deliberately revealed to her gossip-loving manager that she had been shot by Fat last time. She pretended to tell the manager to keep it a secret. Then, as she expected, the manager called around to gossip. Soon after, reporters surrounded Fat to interview her, asking her if it was true that she shot Dao. When she was surrounded and unable to escape, Tam disguised himself to save her and said that he wanted to introduce a job to her. But Fat, considering the affair rumors between them, politely refused Tam's help. Next, Fat received more bad news. She was removed from the list of shareholders of the art school again. Fat was so angry that she hit Dao. Now, Fat was involved in the scandal of being suspected of using a gun to attack others. Many advertisers canceled their contracts with her. This also forced Fat to face the fear of unemployment. In desperation, Fat had to open a milk tea shop with the help of Kam. Dao heard the news and came to make trouble, deliberately defaming and falsely accusing Fat's products of being bad. Fortunately, the audience was very wise, and the fans who supported Fat chased Dao away. When Fat thought that she could live a peaceful life, she received an offer from a program host, saying that they wanted to borrow her place to do a celebrity interview program. After Fat agreed, she saw Dao and her ex-husband coming hand in hand. Dao openly brought Thai to humiliate Fat, wanting to use her milk tea shop as the backdrop for the interview program. Knowing that they were the ones doing the program, Fat firmly refused. But Thai didn't want to leave, and even wanted to use money to humiliate his ex-wife. Tam arrived in time to stop Thai, but they didn't know that Thai came here with a sinister purpose. He took photos of Fat, Tam, and the milk tea shop, and then sent these photos to Fat's father, saying that his daughter was secretly doing a small business and was still seeing Tam. Fat's father was angry that his daughter continued to damage the family's reputation. He didn't listen to any of Fat's explanations, and even wanted to disown her. Tam then found out the reason, and told Fat a way to deal with her ex-husband. He had investigated that they were meeting with a politician's wife. Then he secretly had a male employee film the evidence of their meeting that could prove that they were bribing the politician. He told Fat that he would give this photographic evidence to the police. That night, He actively took Fat home and boldly confessed his feelings to her. But Fat refused his feelings because she was afraid of being hurt again. On the other hand, to satisfy her father's self-esteem, Fat had to temporarily close the milk tea shop and look for acting jobs. At this time, a producer invited her to play a supporting role in a new movie, saying that her good friend Com would also participate. Because it wasn't the lead female role, Fat hesitated a bit. But after the producer left, Tam invited Fat to be the brand ambassador for their company. Not wanting Tam to pity her, and also wanting to prove that she wasn't an idle person, Fat contacted the producer and agreed to take the job. But when she arrived at the film set and changed her clothes, she found that the lead female of this movie was Dao. Enemies meeting, their eyes turned red as they looked at each other. Dao pretended to say she wanted to drop the role, but the producer tried his best to persuade her. Dao reluctantly accepted the role. Soon, they gave a joint interview with reporters. Dao again publicly mocked Fat, saying that she had just gotten divorced, so it was very suitable for her to play this supporting role. In front of everyone, Fat chose to endure it. But when they were in the dressing room, they argued and had a falling out. They immediately started fighting. In the chaos, Fat accidentally got hit in the leg by a chair. Soon after, the news that they were fighting reached Tam. He immediately rushed into the dressing room to ask about Fat, and then quickly hugged her and left, running to a secluded place to check her injuries. But not long after, someone came to tell Fat that Dao was using this fight to threaten the producer to fire Fat. Thai also came to the film set to support Dao. To keep the lead female, the producer had to agree to fire Fat. Just when Dao was smug, what happened next changed everything. It turned out that Thai received a call saying that his company was being investigated. Soon after, the police came to the film set and took Thai and Dao away for bribing officials. It turned out that, after Tam gave the photographic evidence to the police, now the police had taken them to the station to investigate as suspects. After the despicable couple was arrested, Fat, who was injured in the leg, was preparing to go home when she met Tam. He offered to take her home. At first, she refused his good intentions, but her manager and Com wanted to match them up. Helpless, Fat had to accept Tam's offer to take her home. The next day, Fat, who had been fired, was preparing to leave the film set. But the producer tried his best to persuade her, and invited her to play the lead female role. It turned out that Dao was involved in a bribery scandal, so they had to replace her and let Fat play the lead female role. Feeling the producer's sincere invitation, Fat agreed to play the lead female role again. But soon after, Dao miraculously returned to the film set to work. It turned out that Thai had found someone else to take the blame for them. So, Dao returned to the film set. But at this time, the lead female role had been taken over by Fat, so she had to accept the supporting role. At the same time, Thai investigated that the person behind taking the photos accusing him was Tam. He then sent an assassin to deal with him in revenge. But Tam was quick-witted and didn't let the bad guys succeed. He was only injured in the hand and skillfully chased away the assassin that Thai had hired. At the same time, Fat received the news that Tam had been shot, so she rushed to the hospital to ask about his situation. She blamed herself for causing him to offend Thai and fall into danger. Tam said that he was fine and felt lucky that he was the one who got hurt and not her. Just when they were about to get intimate, Tam's adoptive father came to the hospital room and interrupted them. The adoptive father wanted to talk to Fat. It turned out that he didn't support Tam being with her, believing that the affair rumors between her, an actress, and Tam had damaged Tam's reputation, thereby affecting the image of the company. Fat also said that she would keep her distance from Tam. Somewhere else, Thai found out that Fumit failed to kill Tam, so he physically assaulted his subordinate brutally. Fortunately, Dao arrived in time to stop him from continuing the violence. Then she visited Fumit and gently bandaged his wounds. It turned out that, a long time ago, Dao and Fumit were lovers. The child she accidentally miscarried before was his child. That year, Dao hated Fat for causing her to lose her child, so she wanted to take revenge on Fat, using every means to steal her husband and destroy her family's happiness. Now, Fumit wanted to get back together with Dao, but Dao didn't want to rekindle their old love. After saying this, she resolutely went back into the house. Thoi then questioned her and Fumit about what they were talking about. Dao lied, saying that she was teaching Fumit not to fail again next time, and said that she had thought of a way to deal with Tam. It turned out that last time Tam took Fat home, Ava secretly took intimate photos of them, together with the photo of him hugging Fat to treat her wounds last time. Dao used these things to exaggerate the situation, falsely accusing Fat and Tam of having a chaotic private life online. The next day, As soon as the photos were posted, Fat was affected. She had to leave the film set immediately to avoid being surrounded by reporters. Seeing that her scheme had succeeded, Dao and her niece smiled smugly. At the same time, this also seriously affected Tam's reputation, even causing him to lose many projects. His company's reputation was also affected as a result. The adoptive father asked Tam to stop sponsoring Fat's television show, asked Tam to issue a statement to the outside world, clarifying that the news online was nonsense, and asked them to jointly declare to reporters that their relationship was innocent. Otherwise, the board of directors would dismiss him as director. Tam immediately found Fat to talk to, wanting her to bravely face their feelings. To show off that she had stolen her best friend's husband, Dao decided to hold a small tea party at her house to celebrate. To humiliate Fat at the party, she provocatively sent an invitation to her. Fat also readily accepted. Guessing Dao's intention, she had a countermeasure. She immediately called Tam, agreeing to be the brand ambassador for his company. That day, Dao's tea party took place as expected. She decorated the house splendidly, arranging a lot of fresh flowers. But the guests who came were whispering, saying that this decoration was exactly the same as what the old owner used to do. At this time, Dao, arm in arm with Thai, slowly walked down the stairs. They openly showed affection in front of everyone. It turned out that in addition to inviting friends, Thai also invited media outlets. He had just had a new apartment project, wanting the reporters to help him promote it on the occasion of this tea party. When he heard Dao say that she had also invited a special guest, Thai appeared very curious. But when he saw that the person who came was his ex-wife, he looked extremely worried. Fat appeared gorgeously in a red dress, arm in arm with Tam. Coming to the hall, they took the opportunity to clarify the scandal online, declaring that they were just colleagues. Tam introduced to the reporters that Fat was currently the brand image ambassador for his company. As the public relations consultant of the company, he had to take care of her, which was why everyone misunderstood. Seeing this scene, Dao's face turned pale. The scandal that she had painstakingly created was easily resolved by them at the tea party. What made her even more angry was that Fat also introduced to the reporters that because of the good relationship between them, Dao had come forward to clarify the rumors for her, which was why she held this tea party. In front of the reporters, Dao could only suppress the anger in her heart. But Fat took the opportunity to humiliate her, saying that the clothes and jewelry she was wearing were all brands that she liked. And the truth was that they were all given to her by Thai. At this time, a reporter came forward and offered to take a group photo for Fat and Dao to record their friendship. Although she hated Fat in her heart, she had to force a smile and pose with Fat. After the reporters left, she immediately changed her clothes and blamed Thai. However, this clearly couldn't soothe the anger in her heart. To get revenge on Fat, Dao had her niece tell her to stay for dinner with Tam, preparing a memorable lesson for her at dinner. What Fat didn't expect was that she received a bowl of carp soup that used to be her favorite pet fish. She immediately angrily put down her knife and fork, using sharp words to mock and curse Dao. Her argument was so tight that Dao couldn't refute it, causing her to angrily rush to hit Fat. But Fat didn't give in either, almost pushing her head into the bowl of fish soup. Ava quickly came to help Dao. Seeing Ava come to defend her aunt, Fat splashed the fish soup on Ava. This time, Dao not only failed to humiliate Fat, but also brought humiliation upon herself. This made Dao hold a grudge in her heart. Therefore, she took advantage of Fat's working hours to come and harass her. She even brought Thai to visit their model apartment. Dao showed interest in their new apartment, asking Fat to serve VIP customers like her. But then she showed off the ring that Thai gave her, and threatened Fat to leave this place, fleeing abroad to live. Looking at the ring on Dao's hand, Fat couldn't help but think of her fake ring. Then she kindly reminded Dao about that ring. Hearing Fat sarcastically say that her ring might be fake, and completely ignoring her request, Dao used self-pity again. She slapped herself in the face, messed up her hair, and then screamed loudly. She wanted to attract everyone to the scene, and then falsely accuse Fat of harming her. Seeing this, Calm, seeing a worm in a potted plant, quickly grabbed the worm and then grabbed Dao's hair. When everyone came to see, Calm held up the worm in her hand, saying that she was just helping Dao catch worms in her hair. Dao didn't expect her carefully thought-out plan to be broken by Calm. But there were things she couldn't expect next. Thai secretly met with Fat again, saying that he had been disgusted with Dao for a long time, and expressed wanting to start over with Fat. But Thai didn't know that Fat had called Dao. She wanted Dao to know the true face of the player Thai. Dao at the other end of the line heard the conversation, and immediately ran to the scene. At the same time, Thai also angrily rushed to hit Fat. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to keep both the old and the new. When Fat was strangled to the point of breathlessness, Tam arrived in time to save her. At this time, Dao also arrived at the scene. But what surprised Fat was that Dao believed Thai's words, thinking that this was Fat's scheme, that she deliberately seduced Thai to divide them, wanting to steal Thai back. After Fat left, Thai apologized and begged Dao for forgiveness, saying that he deliberately did so to help her take revenge on Fat. Over here, Tam took Fat home, and blamed her for acting too dangerously just now. If he hadn't seen the text message and arrived in time, she would have been in danger. Tam then mustered up the courage to kiss the woman he loved. But his deep feelings were rejected again. Fat pushed Tam away without hesitation, turned around and left without looking back. But Tam didn't intend to give up. The next day, he actively greeted Fat enthusiastically, and even invited her to dinner. But Fat told him to tell everyone that they were just a superior-subordinate relationship. Now they only had one common goal, which was to take revenge on the player Thai. Sure enough, when they were united, the effect appeared immediately. Thai's latest apartment project was accused of occupying a national park. And this evidence was that Fat had secretly entered Thai's room during the tea party last time, stealing and giving this document to Tam. When Thai investigated that the complainant was Tam, he immediately came to question Fat. Fat said that he had no evidence and couldn't do anything to her. Thai angrily tried to hit her, but Tam arrived in time to save her. To vent his anger, Thai told Dao to think of a way to deal with Fat. Dao then fabricated evidence, saying that Calm, whom Fat had promoted, was actually a hostess. After a mess, to protect Calm, Fat had to resign as a brand ambassador. But Fat wasn't sad at all. What made her sad was that her father still didn't understand her. Knowing Fat's feelings, Tam wanted to help her resolve this misunderstanding. He thought of a way to let Fat's father see the true face of the player Thai, and also let him know that his daughter cared about him very much. Thanks to his communication and efforts, Fat's father had now forgiven his daughter. The fact that he hadn't contacted his daughter was also for a reason. He didn't want Thai to know his current position. And last time, with the documents accusing the apartment project, Fat's father had also helped Tam. After talking to Tam, he told Tam to send his daughter a potted plant. As long as Fat saw this gift, she would understand his heart. Knowing that her father had forgiven her, she immediately happily called her father. But her father's answer disappointed her greatly, because her father hadn't forgiven her at all. At this time, she didn't know that her father was being threatened, so he had to say those harsh words. It turned out that Thai had investigated that Fat's father had helped Tam accuse him. Knowing the truth, Thai couldn't swallow this anger. He immediately went to Fat's father's house to accuse him. He used Fat's safety to force him to sign an agreement to give the house and land to Thai. Initially, Fat's father thought that he could lose money to avoid disaster. But he didn't expect the inhuman Thai to not intend to let him go. Thai cruelly pulled the trigger on Fat's father. Fat's father immediately collapsed, seriously injured. Not only that, Thai forced Dao to send him to the underworld. Hesitating for a long time, Dao still couldn't do it. Before dying, Fat's father grabbed Dao's white pants, hoping that she would have mercy and call an ambulance. Finally, Thai snatched the gun and pulled the trigger again. Returning home, Dao hid the evidence in the storage room, so frightened that she was beside herself. In another development, after Fat finished talking to her father on the phone, she wanted to go home immediately to explain to her father. But when she got home, she only saw her father's cold body. Too emotional, she wanted to run to her father's side to check, but was finally stopped by Tam because they had to let the police come to investigate the scene. At that time, Fat noticed the high-heeled shoe prints at the scene. From this, she speculated that the murderer was a woman, but the police said that she was also wearing high heels at the scene. Although she clearly remembered that her path was different from the path of those shoe prints, the police still thought that there was not enough evidence and rejected her inference. After Fat finished the funeral for her father, she was still heartbroken when Thai led Dao to her house, declaring that her father had given all the houses and land to him. Only when she saw her father's signature did Fat firmly believe that her father had done this for an unavoidable reason. When she saw Dao's high heels, a hunch told Fat that the shoe prints at the scene were Dao's. She immediately rushed up, grabbed her hair wildly, and constantly criticized her as a murderer. Seeing this, Thai hurriedly denied everything, and then hurriedly led Dao away. Returning home, Dao was extremely worried. She was afraid that Fat would investigate her. However, Thai told her that he had found a scapegoat for them, and threatened Dao not to reveal that he was the murderer. After all, They were now in the same boat. But they didn't know that their conversation had been eavesdropped by Ava. The next day, Dao brought her degenerate niece back home from the hotel and scolded Ava for trying to ruin her own future, saying that the things she did were extremely terrible. Ava, moved for a moment, said that what Dao and Thai did was terrible, saying that she had accidentally overheard their conversation, accusing her and Thai of murdering Fat's father together. But at this time, not far away, Kam's younger brother happened to pass by. He secretly filmed the video of their conversation. The video could prove that the murderers who killed Fat's father were Dao and Thai. But while filming secretly, he was discovered by Ava and Dao. The two of them immediately rushed to snatch his phone, wanting to delete the video. Although Ava snatched the phone, she accidentally pushed Kam's younger brother from the top floor. Panicked, she looked down, but found that Tam and everyone else were below. Panicked, she intended to call an ambulance, but Dao stopped her and thought of a perfect plan to escape. She told Ava to call an ambulance, and just after connecting, she deliberately hung up. Then, after driving away for a while, Dao deliberately crashed the car into the wall, creating a fake car accident scene, and told Ava to continue calling an ambulance, lying that she had just fainted. After waking up, Ava continued to call for an ambulance, aiming to prove that they had an alibi. Therefore, when Tam led everyone to question them, hearing that there was also a nurse testifying for them, they couldn't do anything to Dao and Ava, because Tam couldn't prove that he had seen Ava from upstairs at that time. On the other hand, the departure of her younger brother broke Kam. She even secretly looked for Ava to avenge her younger brother. Luckily, Fat arrived to stop her from acting rashly. Fat pulled the agitated Kam away, and comforted and persuaded her as much as possible. But at this time her comforting words sounded useless. Kam even had a bit of resentment towards Fat. It was clearly due to the conflict between her and Dao, and now it caused her younger brother to lose his life. In another development, the cunning Dao thought of a sophisticated plan again. Initially, they intended to throw away Kam's younger brother's phone to dispose of the evidence, but she thought of a better plan. She went to Kam and used the tactic of sowing discord, falsely accusing Fat of being the one who killed her younger brother, and saying that Fat and Tam had framed her, reminding her to go to Fat's house to find her younger brother's phone. Therefore, Kam ran to Fat's house and ransacked everything, finally finding her younger brother's phone next to the trash can in front of Fat's house. At this time, she finally believed Dao's words, thinking that Fat had always been using and exploiting her, and her younger brother's departure was also inextricably linked to Fat. She declared that she would cut off relations with Fat and not contact her anymore. Dao, seeing this scene from afar, was very smug. It turned out that after processing Kam's younger brother's phone, deleting the relevant video, she had thrown the broken phone into the trash can in front of Fat's house. She had successfully sown discord between Kam and Fat. When Fat met Kam again, she was extremely angry that Kam was going with Dao. Angrily, she threw wine on Kam's head, wanting to wake her up, but to no avail. Kam was blinded and very angry. The two of them therefore became enemies. Fat then sadly went to a bar to drink away her sorrows. She was very heartbroken that she treated Kam wholeheartedly, but received Kam's distrust and betrayal in return. Tam could only comfort Fat non-stop. Feeling his thoughtful care and attention, the drunk Fat also completely let go of her guard, deciding to accept Tam's love. But when they were preparing to take a further step, Fat became so drunk that she passed out. Tam then helped her to bed to rest. When she woke up, Fat found Tam sleeping on the sofa. She was grateful for Tam's thoughtfulness and care for her. Sober, she finally told Tam that she decided to try dating him. Tam happily kissed the girl he loved. Next, they finally had a substantial advance. Dao originally intended to sow discord between Fat and Kam, but unexpectedly, under Tam's persuasion, Kam brought her younger brother's phone to the technical department for inspection, only to find that this was not her younger brother's phone at all, but was one that Dao used to impersonate and deceive her. Knowing Dao's scheme, Fat came up with a good idea. She suggested that Kam fight fire with fire, pretending to be in conflict with her and befriending Dao, taking the opportunity to flatter the player Thai, in order to sow discord in their relationship. Therefore, when Dao and Fat were filming a face-off scene, seeing Dao playing the old trick again, using self-pity to harm Fat's reputation, Kam stood on Dao's side to testify, falsely accusing Fat of intentionally stabbing Dao out of personal revenge. Therefore, the producer suspended Fat's filming work. Afterwards, Dao also used designer bags to win over Kam. Kam also happily received Dao's gifts, and even generously showed off the rewards she received on social media. aiming to declare that she was a money-loving person who liked designer goods. This trick indeed deceived Thai. Thai immediately met with Calm, saying that as long as she followed his request, she would receive more money and designer goods. The condition was that Calm had to use her star resources to help him pull an investor into his new project. Not long after, Calm invited a wealthy businesswoman to Thai's house. Thai wanted to use the land stolen from Fat's father to invest in real estate. Before signing the contract, Thai held a large press conference to promote his new project. Soon after, many people called to inquire, showing interest. Thai then hurriedly sold the land to the wealthy businesswoman. Although the price was unbelievably low, Thai thought that he had also obtained this land for free, so he didn't investigate further and signed the contract with the wealthy businesswoman's secretary. Thai still thought that he had won the project so smoothly, but he didn't know that a big trap was waiting for him. Thai was overjoyed at this time, and even gave Calm a thank you gift, thanking her for introducing the wealthy businesswoman to him, and even invited her to come to his house next time to receive more rewards. But when Thai signed the contract with his other investors, preparing to launch the project, he found that the wealthy businesswoman had changed her mind. Afterwards, these investors learned from the news that the wealthy businesswoman basically didn't agree to invest in his land project. These small shareholders all angrily left the office. At this time, Thai didn't understand what was happening. He just wanted to get the land back from the wealthy businesswoman. But at this time, Fat came before them, saying that her father's land was now owned by her. Tam also showed the land ownership certificate to Thai. It turned out that Fat and Tam had found the wealthy businesswoman, exposing Thai's despicable behavior. The wealthy businesswoman was a good friend of Fat's father. To repay Fat's father's kindness for helping her in the past, she bought the land back from Thai at an extremely low price, and now transferred it to Fat. The wealthy businesswoman's cancellation of the contract not only caused Thai's new project to fail, but because of Thai's dishonesty, some old investors also announced that they would withdraw from his previous project. This made Thai both sad and angry. He immediately found Calm to question her, asking why the wealthy businesswoman she found was so unreliable. Calm said that Tam was the one who introduced her to the wealthy businesswoman, thinking that they had used her as a tool to deal with him, and lied that she had thought of a way to deal with Fat, saying that she wanted to go upstairs to talk privately with him. Thai then happily went upstairs. At this time, he didn't know that Dao was watching him from behind. As a result, when she rushed into the room, she found Thai preparing to play games with Calm. Calm then took the opportunity to deliberately sow discord in their relationship. Dao, hearing everything outside, immediately became upset, pulled out a gun, intending to harm Calm, but Thai tried his best to stop Dao. After Calm escaped from the room, Thai again began to use sweet words to seduce Dao. He said that he was just using Calm, but Dao was very angry about this. She angrily reminded Thai to be careful. She would expose the bad things he had done. But Thai used the departure of Calm's younger brother to threaten Dao. Thai said that he knew very well what happened that night Calm's younger brother died. But they didn't know that Calm had installed a listening device in this room beforehand. All the words they said were heard by Fat. Through this phone call, Calm confirmed that her younger brother's death was not an accident, but was related to Ava and Dao. On the other hand, at Tam's advice, Fat went to do ideological work with Dao again. She went to the bar, found Dao drinking away her sorrows, then helped the drunk Dao take her home to rest, made a delicious breakfast for her, advised her to recognize the true face of the player Thai, and reminded her that the woman outside of Thai also had someone who was the closest person beside her. Dao thought that day, the only person who knew she came to the bar to find Ava was her other friend, Rithi. Therefore, she went to Rithi's room to spy. Sure enough, she discovered Thai coming out of Rithi's room. She immediately went into the room to confront Rithi. Under her interrogation, Rithi confessed everything. It turned out that a long time ago, Thai had bought an apartment for her, and had always secretly given her money to spend. And that day at the bar, it was also Thai who told Rithi to give Ava flour. It was also she who told Thai about Ava pushing Calm's younger brother down the stairs. Dao, hearing this, angrily warned Rithi that she would pretend not to know about her and Thai, demanding that she not tell Thai that she knew about them. On the other hand, after this incident, Dao was completely disappointed in Thai. She went to find Fat, saying that she could help her deal with Thai. Fat, hearing this, also agreed to help her escape Thai's threat of control, to ensure that she wouldn't have any more worries. Fat also agreed to help her take her niece Ava abroad. When they were having an important conversation, Thai came uninvited. Dao could only secretly hide. After Thai left, Dao dared to come out from behind the potted plant. As soon as she got home, she found Thai physically assaulting and torturing Fumit. Dao intended to stop Thai, but was afraid of his violent behavior. Next, she was warned by Thai, telling her not to betray him. Seeing the true selfish, violent, two-faced face of Thai, Dao finally decided to betray Thai, finding a way out for herself. She intended to follow Fat's arrangement, stealing the evidence of Thai's crime. Just when they were talking happily, Thai came to visit. To make Thai believe that she and Fat were still mortal enemies, Dao fought with Fat right then and there. This action made Thai believe it was true, relaxing his vigilance. He believed that Fat and Dao could never reconcile. But Dao was surprised to discover that Fumit, who had always been secretly helping her, was missing. She asked Thai about Fumit's whereabouts. Thai said that he had discovered that Fumit had betrayed him, so he had punished Fumit. He warned Dao not to betray him, otherwise she would have the same ending as Fumit. On the other hand, because she still couldn't contact Fumit, Dao remembered the sweet memories with him, crying nonstop. After thinking carefully, Dao decided to give up cooperating with Fat, because she was afraid that she would be retaliated against by Thai. After finding out the reason why Dao refused to cooperate, Fat told Tam to investigate Fumit's whereabouts, and was surprised to find that Fumit, as Thai's right-hand man, had been silenced by him after betraying him. Tam then intended to tell Dao about this, but Fat stopped them from revealing the information, because she knew that Fumit used to be Dao's lover. She intended to use Fumit to force Dao to help her deal with Thai. Therefore, she secretly contacted Dao, saying that she had found Fumit's whereabouts, saying that he was currently seriously injured. As long as Dao helped her get Thai's criminal documents, she would take good care of Fumit. Therefore, Dao stole the documents from Thai's office, and under the manager's supervision, she thought of a way to hand them over to Fat. The documents could prove that Thai's apartment project had occupied an area exceeding the regulations. They made this document public, then now either Thai's project would be cancelled, or he would have to buy the land around the apartment project. Tam and Fat guessed that Thai would only choose to buy land to solve the problem. Therefore, they went one step ahead and bought those pieces of land. When Thai and Dao came to negotiate the land purchase, Thai was surprised to find that the landowner was Fat. Fat deliberately made things difficult for Thai, offering a selling price that was 10 times higher than the market price. This time their negotiations failed. Thai angrily suspected that Dao had betrayed him. After criticizing and scolding her, he had a good idea again. He used the fact that he would reveal Ava as the one who killed Kam's younger brother as a condition, forcing Dao to negotiate with Fat, and demanding that she must buy the land at the market price, otherwise her niece would have to go to jail. With no other choice, Dao had to negotiate with Fat. As for Thai, he bribed a waiter, installing a listening device under the table, listening to their negotiation content. Dao knew that Fat's real purpose was to get back her pre-marriage house. Therefore, she promised that as long as she sold the land at cost, she would persuade Thai to return the house to Fat. But when Dao just got home, she was slapped hard by Thai. It turned out that Thai didn't want to lose this house. But after hearing Dao's explanation, Thai understood that this seemed to be a better choice. Therefore, he told Dao to take him to negotiate with Fat. But Dao didn't expect Thai to choose a backup plan. When she left the table to wait outside, he proposed to Fat that he had solid evidence about the murderer, who killed Kam's younger brother. As long as she sold the land to him at the market price, he would give that evidence to her. To catch the murderer who killed Kam's younger brother, Fat signed the contract, agreeing to Thai's proposal. In another development, Dao, who was waiting outside, happened to learn from Tam that Fumit had died a long time ago. Knowing the truth, Dao hurriedly rushed in, criticizing Fat for deceiving her, and then blaming Thai for killing the loyal Fumit like that. Hearing Dao criticizing him as a murderer, Thai took out Kam's younger brother's phone, and said that she was the murderer. He told everyone that Dao had pushed Kam's younger brother down the stairs. It turned out that Thai had tricked Ava into telling him where the phone was hidden, and stole Kam's younger brother's phone. The video in the phone could prove that the last people Kam's younger brother met were Ava and Dao. Dao, because she didn't want to reveal that her niece was the real murderer, reluctantly, she was arrested and imprisoned by Fat, reporting her to the police. Fat, knowing the truth, went to criticize Dao, blaming her for not killing the innocent Kam's younger brother. But Dao mentioned the incident 5 years ago, criticizing Fat for killing the child in her womb, blaming Fat now for deceiving everyone in order to avenge her ex-husband, using despicable and dirty tricks just like her ex-husband. Fat, hearing her best friend's words, was stunned on the spot. Dao's words woke her up. She recounted the whole incident to Tam, hoping Tam could help her think of a way. Tam didn't expect that the goddess in his heart would also be so mean at times. After calming down, he still chose to forgive Fat, because he knew that everyone made mistakes at times. At the same time, Calm went to the prison to ask Dao to confess the truth, because after investigation, she found that the person who pushed her younger brother down the stairs was her niece, Ava. But to protect her niece, Dao would rather go to jail for her. After leaving the prison, to find out the truth about her younger brother's death, Calm went to see Thai again. What Calm didn't expect was that Thai asked her how much Fat knew about Fumit's matter. It turned out that Thai knew that the police were investigating the cause of Fumit's death. Afraid that his crimes would be exposed, Thai asked Calm for help but to no avail. To protect his career, Thai hired a lawyer to bail Dao out of prison, saying that there were no fingerprints of her on Calm's younger brother's phone, helping Dao escape the suspect's charge. But when Dao got home, she found that Thai had brought her niece home. He took his niece as a hostage, forcing Dao to cooperate with Fat again, completing the final scene of the television series, because he guessed that the film starring the two queen bees Fat and Dao would definitely be a successful film. He guessed that Dao would be famous and rich. Then, he used Ava's life to force Dao to sign a marriage certificate with him. He wanted to use Dao to enhance his reputation. The next day, Fat saw the news of their marriage. She guessed that Dao was being forced by Thai. Thinking of the things she had done to hurt her, Fat wanted to do something to help her. In another development, Rithi, after learning that Thai had remarried, met with Thai, questioning why she had done so many things for him, but now didn't receive the help he had promised before, and said that she had helped him give Ava a flower. Rithi told all the bad things that Thai had done, but didn't know that this place had been secretly installed with a listening device by Calm beforehand, listening to their conversation with gusto. But after drinking water, she felt dizzy. It turned out that Thai had seen her installing the listening device beforehand, so he had bribed the waiter to put sleeping pills in her drink. After she fell asleep, Thai took her to the car, then took her to a suburb, and used Calm's phone to send a self-destructing message to Fat. It turned out that he wanted to kill Calm to silence her, planning to use her fake departure to cover up the crime. But Thai didn't know that Calm had woken up at this time. She used another phone to inform Fat that she had been kidnapped by Thai. After asking for the address, Fat immediately said she would come to save her. Hearing their conversation, Dao said she also wanted to contribute her strength. She told Fat the truth about her father's death, and planned a trap with Fat. They wanted to obtain solid evidence of Thai's crime. In another development, Calm wanted to run away, but Thai had a gun in his hand. Seeing Thai about to take Calm's life, at this time, Dao and Fat came to stop Thai. Fat told Thai to release Calm. Suddenly, Dao picked up a stick and knocked Fat unconscious. Seeing this scene, Thai understood that Dao had come to help him. This made Thai completely lose his guard. But Thai didn't know that it was all a self-directed bitterness scheme by Dao. After being tricked by Dao into saying the crime of murder, Dao then took the opportunity to snatch the gun in his hand. Fat, pretending to be unconscious, also took the opportunity to wake up. She held up her phone, saying that she had recorded the words he had just said. Finally, they had solid evidence of his crime. Thai angrily still wanted to resist, but being outnumbered, he only wanted to escape from here. Finally, Fat held a gun to confront Thai. Thai still wanted to come forward to snatch the weapon in his ex-wife's hand, but Fat pulled the trigger without hesitation. Just like that, Thai was shot and fell into the river. Afterwards, they reported to the police. The three of them, Fat, Dao and Calm, gave a unified statement that the owner of that gun was Thai. Fat pulled the trigger in self-defense, otherwise the three of them would have been killed. After investigation, the police thought that the three of them, Fat, were innocent. After all, Thai was now the murderer who killed Fat's father. The police then searched for Thai's body along the river for a long time but couldn't find it. On the other hand, Dao also issued a statement declaring that Thai's criminal behavior was not related to her. After all, they were once a couple. Dao pretended to hope that he wouldn't have an accident, hoping that he would surrender himself, actively cooperating with the police. Afterwards, Dao returned the house to Fat, saying that she would take her niece and leave this place. But to protect her niece Ava, she still kept the secret that Ava had pushed Calm's younger brother down the stairs. Not long after, with Tam's help, Fat moved into the house that used to belong to her. She also invited Tam to live with her. She burned all the photos taken with her ex-husband. Sometime later, the film that Fat and Dao collaborated on was very successful, both of them being nominated for the Best Actress of the Year award. However, after experiencing so many sad things, both of them wanted to withdraw from the race, giving the award to the other. Under the persuasion of the producer, They agreed to be nominated together. And finally, who would win the award would be decided by the audience's vote. Their relationship also became harmonious than ever. The day of awarding the cup and certificate came very quickly. Fat and Dow gave an interview with reporters, saying that they didn't care who would win the Best Actress award. They would sincerely congratulate each other. During the award ceremony, the host announced that Dow had won the Best Actress award. Dow happily went up to receive the award. However, an accident happened at this time. What was displayed on the screen wasn't a commercial but a video of Ava pushing Com's younger brother down the stairs. Dow panicked and pulled Ava to run away. They didn't know who had provided this video. Backstage, they finally learned the truth from Rithi. It turned out that after Thai fell into the water, he was saved by a restaurant owner. After seeing them make peace and about to go to receive the award, Thai contacted Rithi, asking her to release this video. It turned out that Thai was also at the scene that night. He was the one who filmed this video. After the video was broadcast, Dow took Ava home, intending to pack up and flee, but found that Thai had been waiting at home for a long time. Thai had the restaurant owner control Ava, while he dragged Dow to Fat's house to ambush. Therefore, when Fat returned home, she saw Thai controlling Dow. Because Thai had a gun in his hand, both of them didn't dare to act rashly. Thai forced Fat to hand over all the cash and valuables. Fat could only follow his requests little by little. But what the two of them didn't expect was that although Thai had obtained the money he wanted, he didn't intend to let them go, but forced these two good friends to kill each other. Thai used Ava's life to force Dow, forcing her to take Fat's life, because he felt that it would be more interesting and dramatic that way. Helpless, Dow had to take the knife, preparing to follow Thai's request, because she didn't want her niece Ava to lose her life. But at the last moment, a twist appeared. Dow attacked Thai. But unfortunately, her weapon was dropped to the ground. Fat also rushed to help. In a moment, the three of them struggled and pushed each other. Suddenly, Fat's head hit the railing. She immediately fell to the ground unconscious. Only Dow and Thai were left fighting one-on-one. Seeing Thai about to pick up the gun on the ground, Dow desperately attacked Thai. With her fierce struggle, Dow finally picked up the gun, pulling the trigger at Thai. But Thai quickly dodged. Running up the stairs, Dow tried to wake Fat up, but to no avail. Therefore, she took the weapon and chased Thai upstairs. But unexpectedly, Thai ambushed, knocking Dow unconscious. Thai tied up the two unconscious beauties, then poured gasoline on them, trying to burn them alive. The two beauties were immediately covered by the blazing flames. Then Thai intended to leave, but met Tam, who was coming. It turned out that Com and her boyfriend had gone to find Ava. Her boyfriend had rescued Ava from the restaurant owner, and learned from Ava that Thai had taken Dow to find Fat. They then informed Tam to go to Fat's house. Tam quickly knocked Thai down to the ground. Seeing Thai unconscious, he hurriedly ran into the house to save the two beauties. After a lot of hard work, Tam took the two people out of the burning room. But just as they stepped out of the door, the awakened Thai pulled the trigger at Tam. Tam was immediately shot, falling to the ground unable to move. Seeing Thai still intending to shoot Tam again, Dow and Fat hurriedly rushed up to stop him. Dow used a cloth to strangle Thai, then pulled him into the sea of fire. Dow desperately held on to Thai alone. Feeling that she was about to die, she told Fat to take good care of her niece Ava, and told Fat to take Tam away from here. With no other choice, Fat had to help Tam to escape. Then Thai died, collapsing in the sea of fire. As for Dow, she also fainted from inhaling too much smoke. Over here, Fat took Tam to the hospital for emergency treatment. She anxiously waited outside the operating room. Fortunately, the doctor announced that Tam had passed the critical stage. Not long after, Tam was finally transferred to a regular ward. They were all grateful for Dow's sacrifice. If it wasn't for Dow, the three of them might have died under Thai's gun. To repay Dow, they would take good care of Ava. At this time, the police came to tell Fat that when they arrived, her house had been almost completely burned down. They only found Thai's body at the scene. On the other hand, Com also learned that Ava had accidentally pushed her younger brother down the stairs while struggling for the phone. Seeing Ava's pitiful situation now, Com also decided to forgive Ava. At the same time, Fat received a land transfer paper. It turned out that before, fearing that she would die at Thai's hands, Dow had written a will in advance, legally transferring the house to Fat. Time passed quickly. 2 years had passed. Com had now become a famous lead actress. She sincerely thanked Dow and Fat's guidance. After Com achieved success in her career, the wealthy businesswoman finally accepted her as her daughter-in-law. Fat then withdrew from the entertainment industry, becoming a teacher and judge at the art school. When discovering newcomers with acting talent, she always encouraged and supported them. Through the process of tempering, she became more mature and calm. Today, she came to the cemetery to visit Fumet's grave. On the way back, she seemed to see Dao's figure. But when she got out of the car to check, she didn't see that person anymore. But she was sure that that person was Dao. The truth proved that her guess was correct. It turned out that year, when Dao was in a coma, in her delirium, she was awakened by Fumet's spirit. In the critical moment, she escaped from the fire. Now, she came to her ex-boyfriend's cemetery to lay flowers in memory of him. She would never forget the boyfriend who loved her. At the end of the story, Tam took a ring and proposed to Fat. Fat also decided to marry Tam. They happily hugged and kissed each other. The film came to a satisfactory ending here. Thank you for watching the video to the end. See you again.